Hi everyone, this is Anna. Thank you so much for clicking on to my YouTube channel, Anna's Take with the Twist. In this video, we're talking about the movie The Departed. Now, it premiered 20 years ago. Well, let's say October 6, 2006, so almost 20 years ago. Now, I borrowed it from the Toronto Public Library because I thought it was going to be about this group of people called the Westies, but it isn't. It was, however, a very happy accident. I love the movie Departed. It has an amazing cast, fantastic acting, an excellent story, and some very interesting source material. While I was doing some research for this video, I came across a lot of different coincidences and a lot of very interesting facts that are actually pretty freaky. So I hope that you enjoy listening to them as much as I did discovering them. Now, there's a lot of great information in this video, so please stay until the end. And if at any point you like this video, you can always like the video. Of course, you can always leave a comment and you can always subscribe. So the Westies were actually a New York City-based Irish-American organized crime gang that operated from the early 1960s until the 1980s. Several books were written about them, a book by T.J. English. His book is titled The Westies with the subtitle of Inside New York's Irish Mob. And then several movies were made about them, several films. And now there's a TV series titled The Westies. It was actually filmed here in Toronto and the surrounding area, and it is to come out in early 2026. I'm not really sure when, but I will keep everybody posted. Now, even though I'm not Irish, I did make it on for one day. I will say that it was a crowd scene. There's only so many Irish background performers, women, that are available, so I guess they thought they could fit me in. I'm very happy about that. Thank you so much. I would like to say that I did a little bit of investigating about the Westies before I went to go set as a background performer. However, it was the one scene that I was in, it was very intense, and that's actually what kind of intrigued me to want to learn more about the Westies themselves, which somehow led me to the movie The Departed. I know, the rabbit holes never end, right? So anyway, the movie is titled The Departed because it is actually from the Roman Catholic prayer, specifically for the dead, specifically the phrase faithful departed. And The Departed is actually one of the four running themes for this movie, which I find really interesting. So the movie is titled Departed because it refers to the dead, the loss of identity through departure from self and morality of the characters. Now, if you watch this movie, and I sincerely hope that you do because The Departed is absolutely fantastic, that I'm sure that you're going to love it too. The movie has an interesting history of source material that is not Irish at all. Actually, The Departed comes from a remake of Infernal Affairs, which is a Hong Kong movie based on the historical corruption, particularly in Hong Kong, in the 1960s and the 1970s. So Infernal Affairs is actually a trilogy. So Infernal Affairs 1 came out in 2002. Infernal Affairs 2 and 3 both came out in 2003. So all of the Infernal Affairs movies are based on the historical corruption. Now, Infernal Affairs is actually on record as being inspired by the 1997 cult classic titled Face Off, starring Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. I know, amazing cast. Now, the cast for the crime drama / psychological thriller of the movie The Departed is phenomenal. We have multi award winning Jack Nicholson, multi award winning Martin Sheen, both actors who are Hollywood legends before the majority of the remaining ensemble were even born. So we have Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Alec Baldwin, Mark Wahlberg, Vera Farmiga, Anthony Anderson, and Robert Wahlberg, who is the older brother to Mark and Donnie Wahlberg. Now, Brad Pitt was actually supposed to play the role of Colin Sullivan, but he didn't. And it was actually his decision. You see, Brad Pitt is partners in this production company called Plan B Entertainment, most commonly known as Plan B. They do actually do some filming here in Toronto that I've known about, so they'll probably do more that I don't have any idea about. Now, Brad Pitt wanted younger actors to play the characters in the movie who are in the movie, starting their lives and starting their careers. I personally think that was an excellent decision because on April 21st, 2005, which was the first day of principal photography, meaning the first day of actual filming, Brad Pitt was 39 years old, Matt Damon was 24, and Leonardo DiCaprio was 28. So So a bit of an age difference, but here's the thing. It doesn't really matter how old an actor is, like what their age is. What really matters is how old, or in this case, how young they look or can be made to look, and if the audience will believe it. So I really respect Brad Pitt for doing that decision, putting the story before himself. So yes, I think that was great. Thank you, Brad Pitt. Very inspiring, by the way. So because Brad Pitt took himself off of the role of Colin Sullivan, he needed to have a replacement. So he thought of Matt Damon while they were filming the movie Ocean's 12. So during the filming of Ocean's 12, he asked Matt Damon if he would be interested in the role, and he said that he was. Matt Damon was actually born and raised in Cambridge, Massachusetts, which is just north of Boston. Interestingly, the vast majority of the filming for the movie was actually filmed in Boston and the surrounding areas. So even though the movie is based on a remake of Infernal Affairs, it is also loosely based on the real-life Irish-American organized crime syndicate, Winter Hill Gang. Now, Winter Hill Gang was led by James Whitey Bulgar. Whitey being his nickname because of his whitish blonde hair. Now, James Whitey Bulgar was a very interesting individual. He was an informant for the FBI against the Italian mafia. So I guess the FBI is forever bothering Italians. And James Whitey Bulgar also operated in impunity for years. His life actually inspired several books and several movies, films, and it was actually the inspiration for the character Frank Costello in the movie The Departed. There was a biographical film called Black Mass, also about James Whitey Bulgar. And the mob that he ran was also called the Southies, not only just the Winter Hill Gang. So the Southies is actually a running theme in the movie too. Now, I just thought that was kind of interesting how they mentioned that. Now, Mark Wahlberg and Robert Wahlberg were both born and raised in Boston, and they live just in Dorchester. So it is an Irish Catholic neighborhood bordering South Boston. Mark Wahlberg and Robert Wahlberg are both Irish Catholics. So Mark Wahlberg actually turned down the role of Staff Sergeant Sean Digman so many times that Martin Scorsese, the director, had to step in. He actually persuaded and thereby convinced Mark Wahlberg to take on the role, and I'm really glad that he did. Mark Wahlberg stole so many scenes in The Departed. It's almost every scene that he was in. It was great. My favorite scene is when he's standing there with Alec Baldwin. They're insulting each other, and it's really, really quite comical. So anyway, steals a lot of scenes. Martin Scorsese had said jokingly that there really should be subtitles because Mark Wahlberg's accent is just so incredibly thick, and it is. I had to really stop and think for a couple of times there. So Gangs of New York is another Irish mob movie that stars Leonardo DiCaprio. So in it, he infiltrates a powerful anti-immigrant gang leader. Now in The Departed, he plays Bill Costigan, who is a Massachusetts state trooper who is acting as an undercover mole to infiltrate Irish mob boss Frank Costello's crew. I know. So Gangs of New York, like The Departed, was directed by Martin Scorsese, and it starred Leonardo DiCaprio. So it was actually the second film that they both worked on, and they're both Irish mob movies. So Gangs of New York did not win any of the 10 awards it was nominated for. Now, The Departed, however, won 4 of the 5 awards it was nominated for. So it won Best Picture, Best Directing, Best Adapting Screenplay, and also Best Film Editing. In total, The Departed won 100 awards, and it was 141 nominations from critics and award bodies. I'm telling you right now, the movie is fantastic. So the movie was actually a critical and commercial success. It had a production budget of $90 million, which sounds like a lot for 2006. I guess it kind of was. However, it did gross $291.5 million worldwide. So The Departed was one of the first movies to break the 100,000 unit mark in combined DVD and Blu-ray sales for just over $148 million. So video on demand and digital sales were just under $10 million for rental revenue. So you can still buy the DVD and the Blu-ray. I'm going to leave links for them in the description box below for anyone who's interested. Some more interesting facts, actually. The Departed, because it had the production budget of $90 million and $10 million for rental revenue, and the sales of the DVDs and the Blu-rays of 148, that's 158, let's say $160 million. So it almost doubled the production budget. Now, if we add in the sales that it generated from the box office of $291.5 million, then that's like $450 million. So yeah, 5 times the production budget. So huge commercial success. Now, it does not actually include any sales from China, and the reason for that is because the Chinese government banned the movie Departed from being released in China, stating that it portrayed Chinese people in an unfavorable light. I thought that was just kind of interesting, considering it is a remake of the Hong Kong movie titled Infernal Affairs, which is based on historical corruption in Hong Kong in the 1960s, 1970s, but I guess they had a reason. So I'm telling you, The Departed is an excellent, excellent film. Amazing acting. I love The Departed so much because I always felt like I was a fly on the wall. And one of my most favorite scenes is with Leonardo DiCaprio and Jack Nicholson. And in this scene, Jack Nicholson is sitting in a restaurant at a very small table and his left shoulder is up against the wall. Leonardo DiCaprio, he walks in, sits down, and they start talking. Now, because it is a table scene, the majority of it is basically like from the neck up, right? Or from like the chest up. I love this scene because the dialogue is fantastic. It really brings out the acting, and there's so many facial expressions. Like, it's just unreal. The reason I love this scene too is because there's 2 more running themes in this movie that are brought out in this scene. So another running theme is the rat, because they know that there's a rat. There's always a rat in one of these like mob movies. And another one too is the fact that someone is always trying to get Leonardo DiCaprio to eat something. So they're either like, putting food in front of him and he's eating while he's doing the scene, or someone is saying, we should really eat something, or someone else is saying, you should really eat something, you should eat something. So I thought that was just kind of interesting. And the other one too is that one of them, I'm not going to say which one, the collar is a little bit askew, so it kind of shows us that that person's coming undone. So I thought that was interesting. So the 2 running themes. Now, the running time for the movie is actually 151 minutes, which works out to be 2 hours and 31 minutes in total. I love this movie for so many different reasons. And the other one is that it was actually filmed on film. I thought it was filmed on film when I first started watching. I'm like, oh, this is filmed on film. And it is. It's 35 millimeter film. However, it does have some digital 2K color grading done in post-production, which I didn't really notice at all. I was really impressed by the movie overall. I hope that you love The Departed as much as I did. And if you do want to go and borrow it from the Toronto Public Library or any library, it will be available. We do have several copies. And of course, you can always buy the Blu-ray, and of course, you can always buy the DVD. And I'm going to leave a link below for that information, alongside with the book for The Westies by T.J. English, titled The Westies, with the subtitle Inside New York's Irish Mob. Thanks again for watching the very end. I really appreciate it. If at any point you like this video, you can please like the video. Of course, you can always leave a comment, and yes, you can always subscribe. Thanks again for watching Anna's Take with the Twist, and that's a wrap.